Yeah, so this is a fair use from the Act of 1976. Disclaimer, Section 107, under critical and teaching and scholarship and educational purposes, research. I am not making any money off this. This is fair use, fair use.
Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Ka'alayim Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachaha Kodash. I'd like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to your sisters, your chwatim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Aram Yahawada with the lesson. Yeah, and this is this is basically Esau and what he's doing to the earth right now, right? Basically put this thing on a global lockdown, right? Because once he was a small serpent in a garden, and now he's like a dragon, right? Wise to do evil, right? A big dragon, right? And that's his MO. This is what this whole Strait of Hormuz, all this thing is, to bring in the MOTB, right? To bring in the what? Draconia, right? Which goes Draconia. It's like a dragon, right? Dragon-like laws, right? Straight, right? Basically no mercy type of laws. Draconia, right? Dragon laws, right? They're gonna be venomous, right? They're gonna constrict your movement, your ability to do anything without the permission of the devil, right? Even with these 15-minute cities, they basically saying you're like a kid. You need a hall pass to go visit your parent. Say your parent lives in Detroit, or and you live in California, and you live in your 15-minute city. You have to get a pass, or like a slavery pass. Back in the day, that the slaves, in order for them to go to one place to another place, they would have to have a letter from their owner saying that they have this permission to travel. So basically, that's what they're saying. They have this ownership over you, and you have to get permission in order to travel. Yeah, so this is from Axios.com, and I had to look that up. The Axios meaning, it's a Greek word meaning worthy, right, or befitting, right? So yeah, so I'm giving you some worthy information, and it's befitting, right, of this situation. That's what it says. Motor oil shortages tied to grade level, right? Come on now. Tied to grade or group 3 based oil disruptions could be looming, right? And this is basically it's a photo of this thing of an aisle with oil. Yeah, see, Axios, right? Befitting, right? And what's this thing's befitting? It says motor oil could be the next supply chain headache, as major companies warn that Middle East turmoil is what? Is squeezing key ingredients. See? Right there. See that snake? Axios. It's Axios. It's befitting. Right? Key ingredient used in synthetic lubrications or lubricates, lubricants. It's like synthetic lubricants, right? Why? Why it matters? Drivers, repair shops, and oil supply could soon see higher prices, reduced selections of temporary, no, tem- temporary out of stock. They're temporary out of stock for some synthetic motor oils, right? So basically, what they're doing is they're hitting you over the head either which way. Because I believe there's a they want to make motorized cars obsolete, right? And then illegal at some point in time. Excuse me. It says it says driving the news exclusives as Shell, Vol, Valvoline, O'Reilly Automotive, and other companies are warning investors about lubricant cost spikes and pressures on synthetic motor oil supply chain, right? So yeah, basically they want to hit you at the tank. So it's going to be it's going to be too expensive for you either which way. Too expensive for you at the tank, and then to keep your car going because you're going to need motor oil. You know, you're going to need oil changes because oil changes actually keep your your gas. I don't know how you say it, but when you have clean oil, it makes your car run a lot better, and you don't use as much gas, right? So it's beneficial for you to have an oil change, right? So they're hitting you at all angles. Basically, they're gonna just price you out of everything. So that's what this whole that this snake is doing. That's what they're about to. They're gonna price you out of everything, right? Yeah. So right here, just looking it up, America running out of motor oil. It says America is not running out of traditional crude oil or gasoline. See, right? But the U.S. is facing a severe targeted shortage. See, so don't you love how the Edomite lies to you right in your face? Yes, but no, but yes. You know what I'm saying? No, it's not that's happening. But yes, I have a shortage. I have a severe target shortage of grade 3 base oils, the essential building block for modern synthetic oil, which most cars have synthetic oil, right? So not only are they're hitting you at the gas tank, right? They're gonna hit you with the actual just the motor oil in itself, right? Because their thing is to make gas cars obsolete, either illegal, which pretty soon they'll get to it being illegal. But they're probably gonna most likely what they're doing. Obviously, they're making it too expensive to own, right? And then, of course, then just make it illegal. Um, this crisis, see, Right at the beginning, they told you, no, there's nothing wrong. See, and this is that guy that's going to tell you peace and safety. You know, it's peace. Everything is good. Don't worry about anything. You know, the Edomite, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, is someone that will look you in the face, blatantly tell you a lie, and then look at you and say, hey, just trust me. Well, you lied and you lie, and then you lie again, and you get caught in your lies, and I'm supposed to just sit back and trust you. That is absurd. That's crazy. But this is what a lot of you people are going to do. So it just said at the beginning, no, it's not. But right here, saying this crisis is primarily driven. Nothing's wrong, but there's a crisis that's primarily driven by the ongoing war with Iran, which has disrupted global supply. So yeah, this is Google, and I just typed in, well, by what year they want motorized cars obsolete?
The goal isn't to make all motorized cars obsolete, but rather to stop selling new gasoline and diesel vehicles. The main target year for this is 2035.
Right, which is coming up close. So they said not to make, but it's a lie. That's what they do, right? We just read the other one where it said that is there a crisis, and oh no, there's nothing wrong. We're not running out of oil or gas. Then go, well, there is a crisis because of the war in Iran, which is not going to stop, because this is what they're doing. They're putting the squeeze on the planet to bring in the market of a beast. You know what I mean? Which is the micro C hip, and know that the digital ID is not the mark of the beast. Before people start saying that, right? The digital ID is not the mark of the beast, but we know that you're very close, right? It's a precursor, right? And as you can see what they're doing, they're moving pretty fast. You're in, was it 2026? So 2035 is not far from now. So what are they doing? Oh yeah, they're outpricing you at the tank. They're going to be outpricing you at basically in the stores, so you can't even get an oil change. Which even now, I remember when I was a kid, oil changes were like cheap. It wasn't that much. You go somewhere and you spend like $19 and get an oil change. Spend like $20 and get an oil change. Even now, an oil change is like anywhere between $35 to $65 for oil change, right? And that's not them doing a actual oil change like you're supposed to really be doing, or even these people when they do tune-ups. They're not doing tune-ups the way they're supposed to be, because really you're supposed to do the oil change and the tune-up together, right? You change out your oil, change out the spark plugs, put new spark plugs in it, blah, blah, blah. Your car runs more efficient. And you would think they would want you to do that, especially since they have all these so-called emission clauses and pollutant air and what is it called? Your carbon footprint. Because then with being able to have good oil and tune-ups and things, making it affordable for people, but they don't want you to have that anyway. Regardless, they're here to price you out. They're putting on the squeeze, right? So new cars ban judicial, like California and how do you say that shit? Coalition of states, yeah. Right, yeah. Because a coalition means they had a conversation together, right? They're talking about it, and they're all going to do it, including Washington, New York, Massachusetts, as well as Canada, right? Come on, man. This is all, because all these things are all in cahoots, man. Canada's a whole different other country, supposedly, but this is all part of, it says, and European Union, right? Yep, you got to have that, because have implemented mandations to ensure that 100% of new cars sold are zero emission cars. Yeah, they want the electric vehicles, right? And then these electric vehicles all have these cameras in them, right? They were saying next year, 2027, all these the vehicles are all going to have cameras inside of them and be able to tell you when you can drive and when you can't drive. Yeah, so this is Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2 verse 10. It says, let us oppress, right? See, because when they're constricting like a snake around the earth, their whole thing is to oppress, right, the poor, righteous man, which starting with the Israelites, right, starting with the elect. This is their thing, because they're anti Hamashiach, which in the world they call anti-Christ, which means the anointed, right? The ultimate anointed is Yahweh Shai, right? And of course, the Israelites, right? There's an elect within the elect, but all of Israel are the anointed. You're the saints, right? With saints, meaning to like to be sanitized, to be cleansed, to be basically set apart, right? But a lot of our people are filthy, right? They're not set apart, so they're going to face a grave judgment via through the ordinance of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says, let us not spare the widow, saying they don't plan on, because you're a woman and you're this, and not to mention you're the black woman, the most educated woman, and they don't give a damn about that, man. Nor reverence the age, the ancient gray hair, right? No matter how you're old, right? Of the age, right? No matter if you're up in age, right? Because that's who's gonna those who can't defend themselves, and the old are going to be the first to be unalived in this place. Because you got to think, when there's no food, matter of fact, one of the brothers brought that up. I forgot who I was listening to, but he was explaining, when there's no food, that means there's no food even for the hospitals. You have these what are they called? Like my wife works at an assistant living place, for these, these people who need assistance in living. You have these elderly places that they live. Well, when there's no food, these elderly or these assistant living places are going to go out of business because they can't feed the people. So now what do? Once the food is done and there's no way for these people to eat, and it's going to be left up to their family members to come and visit them, to bring them food, right? But then also, hey, what's the point of having assistant living if I can't get paid? Those people are there for a business. Once the money collapses, there's no money. Those people can't afford to have the place that they live in. Now what do? Right? Because the money system is going to change over. See? And those people aren't going to be able to feed themselves. The first people are going to be unalive is the elderly, the vulnerable, because that's what Esau's always done, right? It says, let our strength be the law of justice. See, and what they're going to do is hide behind the law. Well, hey, we're within our rights of section, article, law, ... beautiful bill, ... Patriot Act, ... right? And they're going to hide behind that. Not to mention, hey, we have all the guns, the robots, the drones. So what are you going to do against us? We have the military, the Navy, the Marines, which they're putting on your streets, right? So, but you Israelites think you got forever. So once the dollar collapses, you won't even have your job at the assisted living because they won't be able to feed them. Yeah, you want people ain't gonna have jobs. Not to mention what these people ain't gonna have the money to pay for their living. You know, they're in what do they call it? Old folks home, or I don't know the legit word for it, but I guess it's just like an assisted living. There's a place where, you know, people are on dialysis, or they're on that, what's that thing called when the when they're about to get ready to die. Damn, sleeping my mind right now. What's it? Hospice. There you go. Slakia. How about your hospice. So what do you do with these people who's on hospice? They're on this different things. The money collapse. The famine hits. There's no food. There's no money to take care of these people, and there's no food to take care of these people. Now what do? See? People are goddamn fooling themselves, man. You know? So let the law says let our strength be the law of justice for that which is feeble, right? Which old people are feeble. So they don't give a damn about the people who need assisted living or hospice or people that's at the hospital. They don't give a damn. It's found nothing worth. Though those people are going to be the first people who die because there ain't going to be no food for them to eat and no one to take care of them, right? So you're hanging your whole life on this. Yeah, they say what? So therefore, let us lie in wait. Therefore, let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn, right? Because that's what we out here doing these digital pistols, right? We are on the highways and the byways, right? He is clean contrary, right? Because we're telling you that this devil don't love you. He's out here to hurt the poor, right? He don't care. So we're telling you that, hey, we're clean contrary to what is thing. Look what he's doing, polluting the earth, GMO food. Why would you be for his turn? You have all the technology in the world. You can truly make the world a better place. But your thing is, hey, I will make it better according to putting something within you, because it's going to benefit me, because now I can have complete control. I'm going to constrict the entire earth as a dragon, right? Went from a little snake to a dragon, and he's encompassing the entire world and putting the whole world on a lockdown, because they're speaking about the Ebola. Ebola's about to have the world on a lockdown. Now what do? Right? You know? And this is what the Lord promised. The Lord promised people are gonna die of famine. Right? So if there's no food for these elderly people to eat, or the people at the hospitals, which they can't defend themselves, a lot of them are going to die first. Right? So that's why we're clean. He is clean contrary, starting with, Yahweh Shai, but all the way down to us, the little guy, just little old me, but a big power, Yahweh Bashem Shai. And he is clean contrary to our doing, right? What are they doing in the earth, man? They're not making the earth better. They're going to sell you a dream. Oh, yeah, we have this neural link, and we can put it in your brain, and we can make you see. We can make a person who couldn't hear, we can make you hear. But by the way, you got to take this micro C-hip in order to do so. In order for you to buy and sell, in order for you to live, you need the micro C-hip. That's what they're bringing to this earth, man. Right? He upbraideth us. See, and that's us through these digital epistles. Through going out to the highways and byways, we upbraid them. We tell them, hey, you devils are wicked, man. And the Most High is going to judge you. Right? He upbraideth us with our off offending the law, right? The law, statutes, commandments, man. They pollute the earth, right? They're trying to tell you to put something subdermally within your skin. They're constricting the whole earth, right? They're breaking the law in itself, because what? The Lord said you're supposed to help the widow and help the poor. But they're going to do completely opposite of helping the widow and helping the poor, right? And objective to our infamy and transgressing of our education. Yeah, because the educational system is trash, man. That's why a lot of you Americans are stupid. The devil shows you that he's the devil, and no matter how many times we tell you that this thing is coming, now a lot of people can see it now. Damn, well, maybe those Israelites were right. They are pushing the RFID chip and all this stuff. It looks like it's and now, and some people still ain't seeing it. But you're gonna see it, and that's why the Lord said He's coming like a thief in the night. You're gonna see it, and when you see it, it's gonna be too late. You're gonna be part of the devil's either you're gonna be part of his system, or you're gonna be a casualty, right? Yeah. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 25, verse 17. It says, remember Amalek, right? And Amalek is those international bankers today, right? The world bankers, the one who actually fund the world, and they control and manipulate governments and everything because of the financial system that they basically recreated, right, and got a hold of, right? They tricked the stock market. And, said what Napoleon said that he won the war. So everybody bet their money towards Napoleon. But really, Napoleon lost the war. So he basically, that was a transfer of wealth in that time. A great transfer of wealth in that time. So that's Amalek. And that's how they became, the richest within the world. Right, that what they call old money, right? And that's Amalek. The international bankers, the world bankers did unto thee. So we got to remember it. What they did to us by the way, did unto thee by the way, when ye were coming from out of Egypt. So this is the time when we were coming out of Egypt. It says, keep in mind what Amalek did to you on your way from Egypt, right? We were coming out of Egypt, and just get to the point. It says how he met thee, right? Because they're gonna come out and battle war, and we were just asking, can we pass through the land? Hey, we say, hey, you're our brothers. Your father's Esau, and our father's Jacob, so we're related. We're pretty close related. Just let us go through the land. We won't harm anything. We'll go straight to where we need to go to, and we won't harm anything. They was like, nah, you can't come to our land, right? They came at us all hostile. So the Lord said to remember that, right? And it said, and he didn't stop there. What did it say he did? And how he met thee by the way and smote, right? That means to kill, unalive. The hindermost of thee, right? That's the end, the people who dragging, lagging at the end, right? And normally who's dragging and lagging at the end is the children, because children, they're walking their little ass feet. Oh, I'm tired, Mom. Are we there yet? Little kids is dragging their little feet, and the elderly, because they're older, they're up in age. So, of course, they're not walking as fast either, right? So that's the ones that's at the hindermost of thee, even all that were what? Feeble. See? Easy to succumb to. And this is the thing, this has been the MO from the very beginning. So you think that they give a damn about the people that's in the hospitals? These are going to be the first people to actually get smoted, so to speak, whether with hunger or whatever it is, hunger or thirst or whatever it may be that take them out. The Ebolas, right? The Hanta, right? Whatever other scamdemic or that they're gonna push or pull, right? Right? Because all these things are what a polycrisis is what they're doing. The oil, the gas, the food, the disease, anything, any and everything, bro. Straight up a polycrisis, man. Everything's dire, right? Dire consequences, right? But this is what they, and you know who was affected from that? That were feeble. See, the feeble will behind thee when thou was faint and weary. Right? They were tired, old, young, tired, like the little baby, little young kids, little ass legs. They're tired. The old people, they're tired. Right? And weary. And he feared not the most high power, Yahweh Bashem Shai. He didn't fear him. It says how meeting you on the way, right? We're coming out of Egypt, trying to get into the promised land. But he's going to meet us what? In the battlefield. He's coming to battle against us. Right? Moses had to keep his hands up and praying to the Lord. And as long as Moses' hands stayed up, the Israelites were winning. When his arms fell down, the Israelites were losing. So they put a rock and propped his arms up so they could keep fighting, so that the Israelites would win. Right? Yeah, meeting you on the way, he made an attack, right, on you when you were tired and without strength, cutting off all feeble ones, right, which are the elderly, the children, right, at the end of your line, right? So who's dragging them, walking across the end, which that's even what the lion does, right? The lion, the hyenas, these attacking things, they normally get the little babies, or they go after the sick. You know, he's watched the animals, right? It says that he's a cunning hunter, right? And this is a classic predator prey type thing to do. You know, when you're hunting, when you're constricting the planet as a dragon that's compassed the whole world, you're gonna just snip off all the feeble first. That's just how they get down. The old and the young ones at the end of your line, and fear, and it says, and the fear of Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, was not in him. Yeah, this is Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, verse 20. It says, as the proud hate humility, right? See, as the proud hates humility, and that's these devils, man. They don't like to have the humility. They don't like to be low. You know what I mean? You know, humility helps you realize that there's a God, there's something bigger than you. You know what I mean? You know, it reminds you, you know what I mean? You fall, you bump your head, you really, oh yeah, dang. Oh yeah, let me not forget about God. Let me not forget about my fellow man. You know, sometimes people get on high horses, the Lord knock you down. There's humility. You know, you repent, get back and get back on the right path. But this guy, you know, being proud, Esau, Edom, you know, especially the pride that Donald Trump has, he personifies the Edomites mindset, right? So doeth the rich abhor the poor, right? So they want to have nothing to do with them. They're totally against you, right? They reject you, right? You know, as the poor, especially you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right? You know, a rich man beginning to fall is held up of his friends, right? Trump said it a bunch of times. He said he went bankrupt, and he had a rich billionaire friend that gave him $1 million, put him back on his feet. He started investing, doing like that. He started doing good again. He fell off. He went through things, bankruptcy. Another one of his friends shot him $1 million. So he's been held up by his friends, you know. But a poor man being down is thrust away by his friends, right? Because that's the time we're about to be living in, you know. It says every hand shall be against his brother, right? And against his neighbor, right? And the time when you're poor, when there's nothing else to lose, you're going to lose it. It's going to be all sorts of civil wars, race wars, class wars, right? When a rich man, Slakia, is fallen, he have many helpers. Yeah. And that's where they're at. That's why they boast, right? He speaketh things not to be spoken, right? Yeah, they get to boasting, they get to speaking against God. Oh, that's okay. It was a Yover, whatever his name, Harari, whatever his name is, however you say it. Oh, that's okay. We can make our own rain. We don't need the God of the Bible. You know what I mean? You know, they start boasting things. What was it, John F. Kennedy? You know, we're gonna send a rocket ship to the moon. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. Hey, you're boasting, bro. And that is ultimately your fall. Now, once they start so-called, well, which it was pretend, they didn't really do it, but being that you did it, that's when you started falling. That's when you didn't win any wars, you didn't do anything, you know? That's when you started falling off. But you speak of things, he speaketh things not to be spoken. Hey, boasting against the Most High, boasting against his people, right? And yet men justify him, right? And then everybody's justifying everything Trump has done. Even that's what he said. He said, I can go to Central Park, not Central Park, but I said I can go to Times Square, blast the guys in the head, and he said I'll still get voted in because you're going to justify it. Oh, well, he was a such and such, and he was of whatever belief. And don't forget, he was black. He was a nigger, right? That's a good reason, right? Or RFK is all black people are on drugs and this and that, and they need to go to a farm and work for free. You know what I'm saying? And they'll get in touch with nature, and it'll help their mental health. You know, hey, they can speak these crazy things, and nobody says nothing. They have the Epstein list, and all you got to do is start a war. But now you got to, not just that, you're gonna throw everything at you. You know, Ebola, the Hanta, the this, the virus, another virus. Oh, the pandemic, whatever, scamdemic, pandemic, this, that, and another, man. Nothing but a poly crisis. The oil, right? The gas, the oil, a poly crisis, man. Everything is on at a crisis level. But then they want to tell you they're the smartest, right? You're the smartest and you're the best that ever did it, right? You know? But everything's a crisis right now. Come on, man. The poor man slipped. Just slipped. Yeah, a little slip. Not a big deal. Right? And yet they rebuke him too. See? Hey, man. Hey, what is it? With the DMX, I'm slipping, falling. I can't get up. I'm slipping, falling. I got to get up. Hey, man. Hey, that's what it is. You slip. Right? That's crazy, right? That's heavy, huh? Because that's even what Jake say, man. I was slipping, man. Hey, that's in the Bible, bro. Showing you that, hey, the Lord, the God of this Bible, is in tune with the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, man. Right? Because the Lord said that He's gonna put them, right? These Edomites, these rich, He's gonna put them in a slippery place, right? They're gonna be slipping, right? It says He speak rightly, right? We out here. Digital epistles, highways and the byways, even regular people, they say, hey, it ain't right that you own all this stuff and that the rich keep getting rich and the poor keep getting poor. It doesn't make sense. You can't even spend all that money in your lifetime. Even if you spent a bunch of it and you steal your children's children, so you're good. At least let us live. At least get us a job that we can live. And most people just want a basic life, like be able just to live a decent life, right? And that's it. Most people ain't looking to be rich. If I can live a decent life, have a decent car, decent running vehicle, decent job, have a decent looking woman, have a decent family, I'm good. You know, maybe you go on a couple vacations here and there. Now I got to put on some type of Oculus, some type of fuck thing on and I can take my vacation that way. But even then, you may charge me. I think they're going to. They're going to charge you. Hey, I want to go to I don't know, see the Great Wall of China, and you're going to put on the Oculus, and they're going to tell you it costs you whatever or rubles or dollars or digital coin, whatever it is they're gonna do, and you're gonna have to pay for your trip in your Oculus, man. Which, like the dude said, you're gonna be sitting on your sofa. Yeah, he's I'll be on the first class jet, flying to China or France or wherever, and we'll both get there. We'll both be there, but except for you'll be on your couch. These devils, man, they speak of things that should not be spoken, bro. A lot of freaking pride, man. Hey, but he speaketh rightly, right, which is the poor man, which goes into being the elect, the nation of Israel, and couldn't have no place. See, we have no place, and that's why they say he's not for our turn. But we don't have a place in your kingdom. So why should we be for your turn? Yeah. So this is Psalms 73:9. It says they set their mouth against the heavens. See, that's these devils, man. They speak against the Most High. Speak against Yahweh. They speak against Yahweh Shai. They speak against the angels. All that is created, right? Because when you're hyper focused on satellites and things, so you could see, so you basically and digital technology, so you can be God, or so-called think that you're God, and you're dependent on those things. You all of a sudden you have this type of pride about yourself that you could speak lawfully, but the whole thing is, hey, all those things are going to get brought down. Hey, it's an old term, but a goodie. What goes up must come down. You had to fly those things and those materials and all that stuff into outer space, but hey, the Lord said that He's going to bring down your horn, right? He's going to bring down the horn of the wicked, right? Which that goes into your power, right? Because the horn goes into power, but also goes into your satellites, which give you power, right? You can have real time. You have a vision, things that could see from outer space. I mean, you can see a fly on someone's shirt from outer space. That's how good your cameras are, and your things like that, and how good you're gonna put more surveillance within the world, right? Because it's not enough that you have all the money, you have everything, and that the poor man don't have a place in your kingdom, don't have a place at all in your kingdom, right? So you're okay. So that's why you speak against his, he set their mouths, right? The elite, these international bankers, Amalek, and all these other leaders, China, Russia, Iran, Iraq, right? Don't seem like they're beefing. They still speak against the Lord, man. Just being the fact that Psalms was at 83 that they let us come together, that they be not a nation. Let's be confederate, right? That's speaking against the Lord, man, right? And their tongues walketh through the earth, right? See, because they say, hey, we're the Illuminati, we're the Masons. We have many tongues, but we have the same agenda. We have a new world, hey, and that Novus Ordo Seclorum, right? Says, wherefore his people returneth hither, right? You're gonna be back to being the bowers, and water of a full cup is rang out to them, right? You're gonna be back. You're gonna be the bowers again. You're going into hardcore slavery, bro. Period. And they say, how have the Most High power, Yahweh, know? Yes. How do Yahweh Bashem Hawashai know? How do we know this? Because it's already written, bro. It's already written. He's the Father of spirits. He knows everything, man. And is there knowledge in the Most High? Dang it. Is there really, as you said, is there really a God? That's really what they say. Is there knowledge? We're really saying, dang, is there really a God? Because obviously something is happening where this thing is, and you're not concerned because you figure you're God. So it can't be a God of the true God of the universe, right? You can't even leave Earth, really, right? The Van Allen belt. You've never been to the moon. You can't, but to you, you're a God, right? Because you could do things and no one can arrest you. You could peddle kids, right? You could do this, you could do that. Hey, like Trump said, he could be in Times Square, blow some, and ain't nothing gonna happen to him, right? You could fake, false flag shootings to Trump, and you could fake this and lie about that, hey, and nothing happens to you, right? So yeah, I get it. You believe you're a God, right? Starting with Amalek, right? The international bankers, behold, which means feast your eyes, look, pay attention. These are the ungodly, right? Amalek, right? And all the Edomites, but then all these other nations too. You're ungodly. who prosper in the world. See, while you're poor and they're rich and their rich friends prop them up, and even Trump, he went into office and said, oh, this time he got like over 100 billionaires in his office. So who do you think he's for? Oh yeah, by the way, we're going to write off a tax exempt for the rich. Oh yeah, you poor, more taxes. You could barely survive, more taxes. Oh, you could barely survive. Oh, the gas is going up because we're going to do a blockade. Oh, you can't afford the gas at your tank to go to work every day to afford. Oh wait, matter of fact, what am I talking about? Hey, we're going to put in AI to take away your jobs. But oh, those who do have a job, hey, the gas is going to be more expensive. Hey, forget it. You're not even going to have oil to put in your car. So hey, they're killing everything. So they can bring in this digital world. So everything is electronic. They want you to have a electric stove, electric car, and everything. So they'd be able to just price you out of everything. Put a price on everything. They could be able to shut it on and shut it off. Oh, you didn't pay your electric bill. You didn't pay this bill. Nope, your car won't run. Your electric won't run. You can't cook today. You can't eat today. Oh, you went past this carbon footprint, or you had too much red meat, which won't even be meat. It's a digital printed steak, right? Or a laboratory steak, bro, or a lab grown steak. But hey, they say you can't have that. Have mealworms. Wow. Hey, who prosper, right? The NWO, who prosper in the world, they increase in riches. Yeah. So this is Psalms 37. So like Psalms 37 verse 10 says, "For yet a little while, right, and the wicked shall not be." So for a little while, they're ruling, they're doing their thing, but there's coming a time where they shall not be. For a little while, and the wicked shall not be. Right? Yea, thou shalt diligently consider his place. Right? He's ruling. He's on top of the world. He's doing his thing. We got to consider, hey, he's doing all this in wickedness. We have to consider, hey, the Lord is gonna take them out the way. Right? And it shall not be. So you got to remember that. Hey, he's ruling now, but it's gonna not be for much longer. Right? Even in Habakkuk, it said, how long? Right? The people say he take of that which don't belong to him. Right? How long? Right? You can't just keep stealing everything, right? And then somehow you could wear your so-called black robes, sit behind a thing, hit a gavel, and then give this young Jake so-called death penalty, but then say, no, we don't want him to have the death penalty. We need sweat equity out of him. We need to basically create a whole new wave of a slave plantation. But we're gonna hide behind the law. You're gonna say the law of justice is your strength. So hey, behind the law, even though we've raped, robbed, murdered, this, that, and that, hey, no one, because you got to be God. You could do all these things because hey, only one who could say he was saying, I am the Lord. I do of good. I do of evil. Right? Yeah. Who gonna arrest the Lord? So you're like, hey, I'm God too. You know what I'm saying? I do of good. I do of evil. You say, hey. No, I'm saying, does God have knowledge? Does the Most High have knowledge? He says, does this guy really exist? Because I'm God. I do good and I do evil. And can't nobody arrest me. They can't make me do this or do that. Because I control all this. I'm God. I got the AI. I got the surveillance. I got the Palantir. I'm making all these other nations bow down to me. Russia, China, North Korea, South Korea. They're all bowing down to me. So I'm God. Hey, huh? But the Lord said what? You got to consider his place. And it shall not be. Hey, it's not going to be much longer. But the meek, right, which is the Israelites, the elect, shall inherit the earth, right, which all of Israel is going to come back through the elect, and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace. And the Lord's going to bring peace. And there's no peace on the earth, right? You say you fulfill prophecy, and it said it should not be war learned anymore. You're not going to even learn war. Well, it's a whole new learning of war right now because the drone game changed war forever. Now you have to have fast, cheap, and effective drones in order to win a war. changes the whole war, the plat field of war altogether, right? Like the scripture says, the time when everything was rolled in blood, and it was a noise. See, now you don't have a noise the way things are now. When you have drones, and then ultimately the ICBM missiles, right? Intercontinental and the supersonic missiles, it changes the whole war game in itself, right? But the Lord is coming to bring peace, right? An abundance of peace to the Israelites first and foremost, and then we're gonna give you trickle down theory, right? Of peace. You know what I'm saying? The wicked plotteth, right? And that's what they're doing. This whole scamdemics and oil crisis, gas prices, Ebola, Hanta, whatever viruses or whatever they have out there, man. It's a way for them to plot against what? The just, ultimately the elect, and gnasheth upon them with his teeth. That military, they're gonna come down with great wrath, knowing that they have but a short time. They're gonna use that military. They're gonna come in like a flood, right? It says the Lord shall laugh at him. See, you wonder if the Lord has knowledge. You wonder if he really exists. Well, guess what? He's laughing at you. For he seeth that his day is coming. Right? Yeah, so your day is coming, bro. Your day is definitely coming. It says the wicked have drawn out his sword, right? He's coming with that military, right? You can come with your military, your sleeper cells. You're gonna do all sorts of things, right? And have bent his bow to cast down what? The poor and needy. He don't care about you. He don't care about you, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, right? He don't care if you went to Harvard or Yale. And wait, I'm a different kind of black person. What do these Jake be talking about? They're historically black or black the traditional black America, whatever you're talking about, and they don't give a damn about none of that. And then for you language people, you Latin, which is a language, and you Spanish people, right? I'm Spanish. Yeah, well, that's a language. Latin is a language. So you're living la vida loca, right? I'm Puerto Rican, and I'm Mexican, and I'm Cuban, and Colombian, and I'm a Spanish. I'm a Latino. Hey, guess what? The devils don't care about you either, right? They don't care about the poor and needy. To slay such as be of upright conversation. Ultimately, the elect. The only one that's of upright conversation is all you people are trying to vote. All you people are trying to hold on to this world. That obviously the Lord said that his day is coming. So he's not going to be ruling much longer. His day is coming. So you're trying to hold on, and that day is done with, man. Their sword shall enter into their own heart, right? See? Because ICBM missiles are going to destroy your own. You're doing all this to dig a ditch, and you're going to fall into the ditch. You're digging it deep. You're digging it wide enough for all that pride and all that arrogancy and all that madness that you come with, all that wickedness and evil to fall right into that ditch. So this time the deadly wound by the sword, and he did live. He's not going to live. This time you're gonna pierce your own head. You're gonna pierce your own mind. La'ab. The mind. What says their mind is on one consent, on one thing, to be the Novus Ordo Seclorum. Hey, you're gonna pierce it through. And there's gonna be no Novus Ordo Seclorum, right? Right? Their sword, your own sword, which would be the ICBM missiles that you created, shall enter into their own hearts, which is your mind, right? Which is basically your mind is to bring in the Novus Ordo Seclorum. Your mind is to micro C-hip everybody, keep a hold of the of rulership, right, and dominance throughout the whole earth. Have everybody be a debt slave, and just a slave just in general, right? And their bow shall be broken, right? So all your military endeavors, your laser weapons, and all these things that you thought to forward, your enterprise, the Novus Ordo Seclorum is going to be broken. You're done. You're done. Your kingdom is done. Esau's the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Right? Yeah. So this is Ezekiel chapter 39, verse 3. It says, "And I will smite thy bow," right, which is just ICBM missiles, right, "out of thy left hand, and will cause thy arrows to fall out of thy right hand," right? "Thou shalt fall upon the mountains of Israel," right? "Thou and all thy bands," right? Because what, Russia is going to come up against America, right? Which America is going to fall. They're going to shoot the ICBM missiles on America, right? America and Israel is going to lose, right? And it says, and the people, right? Because you have China, you have Russia, you have North Korea, you have all these other people that's going to be with Russia, right? Because the Lord's going to shut this whole thing down, right? So not only is he going to get rid of one great Edomite stronghold, which would be America, right? Russia is like another Edomite stronghold that's going to have to be taken out in that time, right? Yeah. So and the people that are with thee, and I will give thee unto the ravenous birds of every sort, and to the beast of the field to be devoured. Right, a lot of soldiers are going to be out there in the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, man, in that in that region. Things are gonna is gonna get it's gonna be a realm against realm, world against world. You actually are gonna have a war of worlds, right? Because Yahweh Shai is bringing his world, right? For it says, "Thou shalt fall upon the field, for I have spoken." Right? See, you speak a big talk, you talk crazy, you speak of things that you ought not to speak. But Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh, I have spoken, saith Yahweh, the outer one, Yahweh, Most High, Yahweh, Bashem Yahweh Shai, "and I will send a fire on Magog," right, which is Russia, right? So it's not just going to be America that gets done like that. Even Russia, which is a major a stronghold, a Edomite stronghold. So the Lord's about to take all these Edomites down, right? Because that's what they're thinking. We're gonna do this. We're done, because the elites are done with America. But just because you're done with America, that doesn't mean the Lord is going to allow you to keep propping up this. Like I said, that Novus Ordo Seclorum, right? That's the thing that you're thinking. Okay, yeah, America's going to be done away with. We're done with that. We're gonna just, "And among them that dwell carelessly in the isles, they shall know that I am Yahweh." Hey, you're gonna know. This was all prophesied that all you Edomites are gonna go down. Whether you're of the West, being NATO, EU, and America, or you're of Magog, or what is it? Chief Prince Rosh Shar, right? Whether you're of that. You're going to go down on all you nations that come with them, right? "For I will make my holy name known in the midst of my people Israel," or Yasha Allah, right? The true name, Yasha Allah, "and I will not let them pollute my holy name anymore," which is Yahweh, right? And his only begotten son name is Yahweh Shai. We're not going to pollute those names anymore. "And the heathen," which are the nations, "shall know that I am Yahweh," right? Bahasham Yahweh Shai, the Holy One of Yasharallah, right? So with all that, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rachaha Kwadash. I like to give double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold, Shalom. To you sisters, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and above all, Kwame Sharala.